Today, we're going to be talking about 10 bourbons that I am dying to try. Let's get into it. Hello everyone, welcome back to Brad's Bourbon Reviews. I'm Brad, and today, very different video. Today, we're going to be talking about bottles of bourbon that I don't have and have never tried that I really, really want to try. So I don't have the bottles, so it's going to be kind of a different format here. These are in no particular order, so it doesn't mean I'm not starting with like the one I want the least versus the ones I want the most. So just keep that in mind when we're going through these. So first up for me is the big three that like one of them I know I will never get or like be even lucky enough to have a place where a pour of it is reasonable because there's nothing about it that's reasonable. So I'm talking about when I really want to try Eagle Rare 17, Double Eagle Very Rare, and Eagle Rare 25. It is very possible in my future that I get an Eagle Rare 17 and or a Double Eagle Very Rare. I've been offered them and it just was bad timing to spend $2,200 on a bottle of bourbon, which is insane to even say that sentence out loud. But the Eagle Rare 25, I believe, was like $10,000. So like if you could find that at a restaurant to get like an ounce or a half ounce, you're probably looking at around $1,000. I'm not paying that unless I win the lottery or something and have enough money where that's like spending $40, which I doubt ever happens. The reason why I want to try these so much is because I'm a big Eagle Rare fan. I've talked about it before. Eagle Rare is what I always use to warm up my palate because I can always pick out that like cherry cola note on it, and if I can't pick that note out, I know it's not a day to record videos. Kind of like today, actually. That's why I'm recording this type of video today. So I really want to try Eagle Rare 17 because it's what it used to be bottled at 101 proof. It's like Eagle Rare Prime. And then Double Eagle Very Rare is like its own separate kind of thing where it's, at least 20 years old. Eagle Rare 25 is 25-year-old. And there's not a lot of it. It would be interesting to try it. I just don't think that's ever going to happen. But the other two are relatively reasonable. And BTAC is really, really hard to get. But in the last 2 years, I've been able to get 2 George C. Staggs and a Thomas H. Handy. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that I could get one for a reasonable price. But, it remains to be seen. So moving on to the next one. Next one in the same vein for that is like, it's possible that I get my hands on one of these one day. But I'm not spending the money that it costs to buy these on the secondary page. I'm talking about Pappy 23. I thought I had tried Pappy 23. Turns out in my communication, I had actually tried Pappy 20. So I have tried the 10, the 12, the 15, and the 20. I've never tried Pappy 23, which I thought was interesting because the 20 to me was almost too oaky. So I'm just naturally curious about how oaky Pappy 23 is because I hear it's really, really oaky. Moving on to the next one. So this one might be surprising to you that it made this list because I'm notoriously not a huge fan of their products. But I do think that the best thing that this distillery does is their wood finishing series. I'm naturally talking about Maker's Mark. I like the Maker's Mark wood finishing series. I really enjoyed the BRT 01 and 2 and the BEP. But I have heard from people who are diehard Makers fans that the FAE 01 and 2 are like some of the best in the entire wood finishing series. I might seek these out at some point because if those are the best of the thing that I like already from Maker's Mark, then I have to try them. It's so funny. Like I notoriously don't like Maker's Mark. I really wish I did because their stuff is like, even their special releases are really easy to get, relatively speaking. Moving on to the next one. This one is interesting. This one comes from Michter's. It's only because I have 3 of their like brother or sister bottles of Bombergers, and I've never tried the other one. And we were talking about this the other night when we were doing a meetup with Orlando Bourbon Gang and a bottle share with Orlando Bourbon Gang, I should say. And we were talking about Shanks. I've never tried Shanks. I've had the opportunity to buy it twice now, and I chose the Bombergers because I have like a little mini collection of Bombergers already. So I have like 3 bottles of it over there. So I really want to try it because I hear like some years it's better than the Bombergers. Sometimes Bombergers is better. I don't know. This one's not like a super hard to find bottle. I could easily track one of these down. I just haven't, and I don't know why. And I was thinking about bottles that I really want to try, and that's one of them. I just really want to try that one. Moving on to the next one. Up next is the Buffalo Trace Prohibition Collection. I think a second version of this just came out not too long ago. And this is one of those things for me where it's like, I would love to try one of these, but I don't have fuck you money. They're just so expensive. I think they're like $2,500 that like, it just doesn't make sense. The cool thing about it is they are like reviving these old brands, and they are using like proprietary mash bills for these things, but you're getting like 375 milliliter bottles of each one. If they were full-size bottles, for the same exact price, I actually probably would consider like saving up money and buying one of these, because I think the idea of it is really cool and the presentation of it is really cool. And I'm just curious about it because I'm a history dork. So like finding these old brands that like don't exist anymore is always interesting to me. And seeing like if they actually replicated the mash bill, what was made back in the day, is pretty cool and interesting to me. But I can't do it with how much money it costs. It's just too expensive. But that's what's on this list because I really want to try them, but I don't think I'll ever get to. It would be really cool too. I actually know a guy who bought one of these and told me he bought them with the intention of mixing them all together and seeing how it ended up. Yep. Moving on to the next one. Up next is one that like is probably not on most people's radar, but I'm very curious about it because I have heard from people who don't like this brand otherwise that this bottle is like absolutely incredible. And like once people try it, they like go, oh my God, I need one. Blade & Bow 22. I have one bottle of Blade & Bow bourbon and I think it is like just okay. Perfectly fine bourbon. It's more expensive than it should be. The bottle's cool, all that stuff, but like it is just okay. I know people who agree with that opinion and go, you got to try the 22. So at some point, I'm going to have to fork over the money and buy the 22. I don't think it's like that expensive in the context of like Eagle Rare 25 or the context of like a double Eagle Very Rare. It retails at $550 for $549.99, so $550. And yeah, that's not cheap by any stretch of the imagination. But it's not $10,000 expensive. Moving on to the next one. Up next is another bottle from Michter's. We were talking about this one again this weekend with the boys in OBG. And we were talking about Michter's 20. No one's ever had it. It's super expensive. It's really hard to come by. It was available in the ABC Vault just a few weeks ago, and we all missed it. I didn't even get an invite. I believe it MSRP's for $1,000. It's actually $1,200. It's not cheap by any stretch, but I think that's like one of those very, very, very special occasion bourbons. I know not everyone spent $1,000. I know for a fact I could not spend $1,000 on a bottle of bourbon. Holly would probably kill me, but I really want to try it. Like if this was someplace and it was like $200 for a 2-ounce pour, I'd probably do it. Just to say that I've had it because it's one of these for me that's been so elusive. Like I don't think I've ever seen one in person, even at like high-end bourbon bars. So they are really, really hard to get. And one day I will fork over the money to at least try it. Moving on to the next one. All right, number 8 here is a bottle that I have one of, but it's not quite the one I want it to be. And I'm talking about a Hazmat Coy Hill. I have 2 Coy Hills. They are both 0.1% proof difference from each other. And if I remember correctly, I think they're like 126 something proof. But I have heard that the Hazmat ones are even just like insanely exponentially better. If you don't know what hazmat just means it's over 140 proof. They call it hazmat because you like literally can't get on a plane with it because it is too flammable. There's a lot of like hazmat talk in bourbon groups and stuff right now. People are flipping out. Just because something is a hazmat does not mean it's going to be good. Just please keep that in mind. But in this example, the Coy Hills that I have always heard are like the best when they're at hazmat. So I really would like to try one of those one day. And those are going for secondary prices like $1,100, which is just insane. Jack Daniels is an $80 bottle at retail. It's just hard to spend that. I mean, it's not hard. I'm just not going to spend that much money on a Jack Daniels Coy Hill, but it would be nice, wouldn't it? Moving on to the next one. This next one is one that I think I'm going to buy sooner than later for a few reasons. First reason is they are findable on the secondary and they're not like overly expensive. And the other reason is I want to get as much Jimmy Russell stuff before he passes away. Not that it's happening anytime soon. Not that it's happening today or next week. But at a certain point, he's an older man. It's going to come for all of us. And when it does for him, I think that the interest in these old Wild Turkey products are just going to make them so much more expensive. So I want to get it now before that happens. But it's the father and son. Wild Turkey father and son. I really want to get one of these. And if I do get one of these, which I'm going to at some point, I'm putting this away and I'm saving this for my son's 21st birthday. And that will be the first bourbon that he has, is the father and son Wild Turkey. Moving on to the last one. Last one on this list is one of the more recent bottles that's been announced. This is the E.H. Taylor Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. I'm just so genuinely curious to try this up against like George T. Stagg and see like what the difference is and why they went with this one for the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection and didn't do something in Mash Bill 2. It's kind of a topic I've talked to death about on the Patreon, on the podcast, but I'm very curious about this and I just gotta know what it tastes like. I'm a big fan of E.H. Taylor. I have 5, 6 different bottles of E.H. Taylor stuff, barrel proofs, rye, the barrel proof rye. I'm just very curious as to why this ended up in the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection. I'm wondering if they had just like enough barrels that were just really, really good blended together and be like, that's BTAC level good, or if it's something else. But I will only know if it's BTAC worthy once I get my hands on it. So comment down below. Let me know what bottles you're dying to try. And while you're down there, make sure you leave a like and subscribe because we are this close to 5,000 subscribers. I would appreciate it very much if you could help us get there. I will see you guys on the next one. Until then, cheers. A big thank you to all the Patreon supporters you see on screen right now.